I take it that you work with bitmaps or aerial photographs quite often. Not only do we handle 3D images, but we also handle very large bitmaps. I'm going to show you an example where I bring in a 28 gig bitmap. Just to give you an idea, this particular drawing that we have in front of us is close to 41 megabytes. And then you insert the image by going to Insert and select an image. Specify the image to bring in, and we're looking at close to 28 gigs. We got confirmation that the image has been placed in the correct georeference position. To zoom out and show you the extent of this image, you have the option of saving viewports. Depending on the design areas of choice, you can go and save these viewports. And as an example, if you don't do a development where the sports ground is, you don't particularly want to be working with a large 28 gig image all the time. So instead, you can go and right click, save cropped image, specify the region of the image that you want, specify where you'd like to save it, and I'm then bring that image in. So I go to Insert, I select Image, select the one that I've just created, looking at close to 6.5 megabytes. To zoom in, you can see this image is georeferenced. So instead of working on the large image, I can now go and delete it and then focus in on my design area of choice. Alternatively, if you don't have an image, I've got the solution for you. Within Civil Designer, you can go to Insert, select Bing Maps Aerial Image, specify your projection settings, and I'll go into a lot more detail as far as that's concerned shortly. Within a couple of seconds, you'll have an image. You could then go and specify where you'd like to save this image. Civil Designer presents us with a generous amount of image that can be utilized for your design purposes. Deleting the image. One of the most frequent asked questions within these demonstrations is how do you go about creating a project inside Civil Designer and importing your surveyed information? I'm going to show you that next. We go to our survey mode, go to File, Project Settings, and we're going to create a terrain file. Specify where you'd like to save this information. At this stage, you could activate the different modules. For now, I'll just bring in the survey. You aren't limited to a particular hemisphere. As far as the rest of the projection settings are concerned, we've made it easy for you by giving these preset options. You could go and specify where in the world your project is situated. Alternatively, you could go and type in a country, and Civil Designer will give you the different options associated to that country. This particular project that we're looking at the moment is done inside South Africa. I've set up the projection settings accordingly, and I click on OK. Now that we know where in the world the project is situated, I can import surveyed information. And there's different ways that you can do so. If I go to Import, if you've got a 3D drawing, you can convert those drawing entities into your DTM or digital terrain model. We make provision for TIFF, DEMs, LiDAR surveys, Land XML, but in this case, I'm then bringing an ASCII file. If you don't have a survey and you need to bring in a grid for preliminary project purposes, you can use the Bing Map functionality found in the terrain mode. It is a comma delimited. I'm going to click on Next. Specify the headers for the columns, and then you have the option to go and save those settings as defaults. Within Civil Designer, you have the option of using 255 different surfaces. Those are the grid surveyed points that we've just imported. Next up, you probably want to generate your contour. So we go to the terrain mode, go to model on top, select triangulate. It will then join all the surveyed grid points with lines, and from that you are able to go and activate your contour display settings. It's very easy to go and customize these display settings. This is what we refer to as dynamic contours. With dynamic contours, you are able to make changes to your contours. Once you're happy with them, you can make them permanent contours by going to Terrain, Generate Contours, specify your customized interval, and then go back to your display settings and update the defaults. Again, very easy to customize the display settings. If I were to zoom in, the contours are now labeled. If you'd like to put in your own contour interval and you got the surveying terrain module, you can go to contour labels, add label line, specify your surface, and then click where you'd like these labels to be. That covers the Design Center module.